everyone, our main topic of today is the African-Egyptian strong ties, which are deeply rooted thousands years ago, and Egypt is actually trying to actively leverage its geopolitical strong position to drive the economic integration, security, stability in the whole region, and also infrastructure and security, continental security, and to all across the African continent. Well, to shed more light on this, we are most delighted to be joined here in this studio with our prominent guest, Dr. Yasser Tantawy, International Relations Expert. Dr. Yasser, great pleasure having you with us. Very good morning to you.
Nice to meet you today.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Well, it's really deeply rooted relations with the African continent, but let's talk about this in regarding the latest visits of the African presidents, in particular the Eritrean president, Yasser, a couple of days ago, yes, and today, as we are expecting, dear guest, the president of Congo to Egypt. But let's answer this after the next report. Let's watch.
Egypt is resetting its Africa policy around three pillars: security, trade, and infrastructure, treating the continent as strategic depth rather than just a neighborhood. From the Horn of Africa to the Sahel, Cairo is pushing partnerships that protect trade routes, stabilize conflicts, and expand economic ties under African Continental Free Trade Area. On security, Egypt calls the Horn of Africa an extension of its national security and insists Red Sea governance must remain with coastal states. That stance drives close coordination with Eritrea and Somalia through a new trilateral framework focused on Sudan and Somalia stability. Cairo continues backing Sudan's unity and sovereignty while mediating to end the conflict. Egypt is leveraging the Suez Canal and its industrial base to become a gateway for African trade under African Continental Free Trade Area. Maritime transport deals with Eritrea, Tanzania, and Kenya aim to link Red Sea and Indian Ocean ports. Egyptian companies are also exporting infrastructure, building roads, power plants, railways, and hospitals across East and West Africa. Meanwhile, Cairo is active inside the African Union on peace and mediation in Libya, Sudan, and the Sahel. Through the Egyptian Agency for Partnership for Development, Egypt provides technical aid, scholarships, and health missions to more than 50 African states. Egypt is balancing security coordination in the Horn with economic integration across the continent, using infrastructure and trade to secure both prosperity influence from the Mediterranean to sub-Saharan Africa.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're still at Nile TV International, our today's edition of the Breakfast Show. Once again, I'm going to welcome our dear guest here in the studio, Dr. Yasser Tantawy, International Relations Expert. Dr. Yasser, great pleasure having you with us.
Nice to meet you.
Once again. Well, talking about the securitizing and stabilizing the area of the Sahel and the Horn of Africa in particular, how this could be reflected through the strong diplomatic ties with some African countries like the Eritrea, for example?
First of all, we have very good relationship with African countries all over that last, for now, 3,000 years, because we started that 3,000 years ago. So we are there somehow, and so on. So, but currently, in the last 70 years, we have more in-deep relationship. Especially President Gamal Abdel Nasser started it when his launching of African Union and other subsidiaries. So we are there somehow in a different ways. But currently, especially after 2014, we established a very strong relationship with the entire African countries all across the continent, regardless of the location and so on. So it is not only Congo or Eritrea, but no, we have very strong relations also with South Africa, with Mali, with other African countries. But the most important thing is the countries which is in depth in our national security strategy, which is of course to safeguard Suez Canals, to safeguard our coasts and so on. So we need to extend our scope of coverage to other countries. With Eritrea, I think we are having extremely good relationship with them tens of years now, and we are having physical presence based on, not in partnership, but based on brotherhood.
Yeah.
So Egypt is having a complete different way of diplomacy which that's why we are saying it lasts more than 3,000 years now. The same way, which is brotherhood, we are together establishing. So with Eritrea, we are having lots of improvements that happened. So practically, in the last 3 years, Eritrea got the strongest and the biggest military support deal for their army. We train their security forces, regardless of police
That's
or
what we are
armed
always
forces.
providing.
We are having a naval base, we have air base, we are having lots of things. In addition to that, the new thing is, which makes other countries a little bit jealous of that, the port of Amhara and the port of Kaleklia is now under joint management between, logistic management between Egypt and Eritrea at the same time. So which is a complete different model than the other countries who like to have ownership. I like to have that piece. So it is, politics cannot be played on randomized issues. It's a pre-planned issue. It's a task force which is generated since 2014 to map all of those challenges actually, and to put it in proper place. And with Eritrea, we are engaged with them, as we said, on brotherhood basis, not only partnership. It is not the point we are supporting a benefit base. So practically they have other benefits, like our naval forces is securing the coast up to Eritrea. So we are giving them security guarantees, we can say, that security coverage that they need. So we are not dealing with them in a base of give me something for that.
It's mutual benefit.
It's
for
a mutual,
both,
as we said, it's brotherhood.
nations.
We deal it as brother. It's a complete different model that no other country can do it, because it is based, as we said, because we are there for years. And
that's why you told me that Egypt this year is supposed to be unique in spite of the superpower race to Africa. Still, Egypt is really unique in the partnership or the sort of cooperation with the African countries.
Actually, Egypt model is based on getting benefits which satisfy both parties. There is nothing called win-to-win. Somebody should pay more, and practically everybody knows we pay more by that security coverage, security guarantees, safety, and so on. And actually, Egypt, in Eritrea, in Congo, and other countries is the only country that helps in lots of domains, which is very important. We are helping in military, in security, in natural resources development, and raising the education and calibers, regardless to be trained in Egypt or not, for health, for engineering, infrastructure, power supply, and the most important, which is now booming up, is diplomacy. So lots of African representatives, especially in Eritrea and Congo and so on, are being trained in Egypt for diplomacy and more political anthems. It is not the point we are feeding with them or mentoring them about our own diplomacy, but the point is, let's make it this way. There is nothing called deep state. There is a heritage of diplomacy that doesn't change with and which is obvious in Egypt all over the time. We're having a certain line of diplomacy that lasts regardless of even from a king to a republic. It was the same way of doing things. So it's more confidence to other countries to absorb that, to be educated with that. So we are not fluctuating because of some president has some interest or some king has some interest, and so we are having a stable relationship which makes other countries very satisfied in that sense.
Dr. Tantawy, short break, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're still at the Nile TV International, our today's edition of the Breakfast Show. Now we are discussing the deeply rooted African-Egyptian ties, and with our dear guest here in the studio, Dr. Yasser Tantawy, International Relations Expert. Once again, great having you with us, and thank you for your time, Dr. Tantawy. And we've been talking about the relationship between Egypt and the financial institutions like the African Bank, and the mutual visits between the presidents of the African Bank and the Egyptian president to promote the African export import and to bolster the intra-Africa trade, also investments and developmental projects, and also to finance the massive infrastructure projects.
Yes, African Bank is a major player in that. So it's like the financial arm of the African Union, actually. And it helped not only the export and the import, but it helps the infrastructure development and other African-based development. It has a concession for Africans. Even it has very strong competition from other financial institutions abroad, but accusing them with lots of things because of the challenges they are creating for other institutions. But it is a winning
You mean
party.
like the World Bank?
Yeah,
or
yeah,
things like that?
they
Of
are
course,
having
the
lots.
African Bank is different.
They are
for the
claiming no,
African
but for
continent.
them still they
Yeah.
are competing with them.
Yeah.
So African Bank is replacing that long-term constraint for very strong loans and so on to be replaced with development projects that will be paid back those money or guarantees. So technically, African Bank is a technical financial arm. So it develop and support real projects, real development and so on. So it doesn't give loan for a loan. It doesn't give just something with guarantees and so it's complete different model. That's why it's more strong. And that's why it covers not only infrastructure, it covers mutual projects, it covers educational plans, it covers lots of arms to stabilize the African. In addition to that, it leveraged the entire African continent economical perspective because at least there is one single entity that will replace all of those small scale central banks regardless of the size of the nation and so on. So being a part of that, it gives a challenging head, which is already happening against international financial institutions in positioning that, and actually it's secured by its position that last years ago and avoided lots of African, let's say, corporates and countries to be recolonized again under lots of loans and debits and so on. So I think it doesn't have only a financial arm. It is only a very nice political arm to safeguard the sovereignty of African continent countries, actually, not to be biased to certain decisions because of some financial issues, which is normally created by the colonization approach. So this is an interesting part of the story, let's say.
Yeah. Talking about another different and essential point, which is the water management file or the water resources file, which is supposed to be existential issue for all the basin countries. Taking Egypt collaborates on strong basis with such basin countries for agricultural projects and irrigation systems and etc. How do you find such collaboration on the basin?
That collaboration is something new. Remember, we are having already delegations for water resource ministry and all over the African countries actually to safeguard the water resources. In addition to that, agriculture plans, and we are having already lots of businessmen investing not for a year or two, for tens of years in African countries for plantation, farming, cattle feed and so on. So we are existing there, but it was not, let's say, published because of lots of, we can say, media coverage, shortage and so on. In addition to that, people who are working there are not interested to be public. It's their own business. They are free to deal it with whatever they like. But Egypt's presence there, especially in natural resource preservation and safety of natural resources, is already there for more than 70 years. And actually, maybe we pay attention to it recently, but it is already there for more than 70 years already by lots of delegations, government delegations, even not even private, which was a very strong arm in stabilizing lots of political deals inside, between peace deals, even between some tribes in Africa and so on. We have lots of famous stories about that already in the last years. But recently we pay attention for that because of our problems with Renaissance Dam and so on. So we just start paying attention about details which is not public before. In addition to that, as we said, there are lots of Egyptian companies who are dealing that. A very simple example, all of the development that happened in Congo, in Eritrea and so on is done by Egyptian companies, not by the government. It was private-based companies who take the lead to potentialize and go there for that infrastructure development, and it's working well. So we are there, but maybe it's a problem of some media channels that was not taking attention of that, but we are there already in a very strong way. And as we said, it's based on brotherhood basis, and it's pure business, so it is not looking for some political benefit and so on. And by the end of the day, we do that because of, it is not our duty. It's a very hard way to say it's our duty, because, but it is a part of our extension of national security, because
we believe that it's our commitment,
it's
Egypt's commitment,
it's historical
towards
commitment,
yeah.
because we are used to do that, as we said, 3,000 years.
Yeah.
The first delegation came up I think by Hatshepsut 3,000 years ago, for African countries to establish peace deals and to establish trade deals, actually, to African countries up to the entire extension of Nile River. So it is not ethical, it is not security only, it's a combination between history, geography, a mix of culture. The most important thing, we are the closest country that has the same culture already, and same orientation. So we are not different. We are having the same problem we are having. We are preserving their natural resources, because we are having already problems in natural resources. So we are having the common understanding. So practically we are the best people who can understand their problems. It is not only that to listen to them and give them a camouflage solutions, but we are having a practical approach, because we are having the same concerns. So it's the same playground we are dealing with, which is complete different approach from others, as we say.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Tantawy, Egypt is positioning itself as well as a central trade and a re-export logistics hub between Africa, Asia and Europe, and also trying hard to activate the AFC FTA as well. So how you weigh this?
It's we can say it's a natural principle, with the geographical presence of Egypt, and with the main hub of Suez Canal, including the economic part, or let's say economic zone of Suez Canal. In addition to that, Egypt as a country, if we say we are having more than 17 ports on the coast, so practically all of those outputs make us a very interesting logistic hub for the entire continent, which is easy. And that's why one of the key issues that we are dealing with African countries is logistics. That logistics is not only a software or a system or management. No, it combined with transportation facility, it combines with infrastructure, development, education, engineering, and yes, utilities development and so on. So this is a nation development, not only camouflage logistics. So yes, so Egypt is not a courier company. It isn't just dealing with logistics from a pure logistics transportation. No, we are dealing it from infrastructure perspective. So which means the beneficiary countries, like African countries, having more interesting and more easy way. That's why we're having urban roads under establishment that last for thousands of kilometers to connect Egypt with other African countries, with the ports, with the airports, and so on. So it's an interesting hub. If you remember, tens of years ago, to fly from African countries to Egypt, you can go through Paris, actually. Now we are having direct lines all over. Now Egypt becoming the hub of all that. And maybe the practice we are facing with the Iran war and so on makes Egypt more focused to be the safe logistics hub all over that, regardless of the beneficiary party. So we are not positioning ourselves by force, we are positioning ourselves by nature. It's
I believe we are trying with such countries like Eritrea, Congo, and the other coastal countries to try to securitize the maritime and the Red Sea. I mean, in spite of all the hostilities and all what's going on.
Yes, it's going well, because as we said, our naval forces is covering all of those coastal safety, regardless of the alliances, side alliances with other countries who are trying to safeguard maritime and Red Sea and so on. But still we are having in a better position, because we are having direct contact, direct presence. We have already a naval base back in Eritrea, developed with the Eritrean armed forces. We have lots of presence in other countries and other islands inside Red Sea and so on. So we are there by nature, we are there by geography, we are there by history, we are there by being presented, because we used to be there in a very simple way. It is not something new. We did not articulate new trends. We didn't articulate strange requests like non-coastal countries that like to have a port in Eritrea or regardless. So there are lots of things we are dealing with it in a different way, which are becoming more acceptable to and easily acceptable to African countries, actually.
Yes, Dr. Yasser Tantawy, international relations expert, many thanks for your insights and views, and many thanks for your time being with us today.
Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be right back in a minute.